Greetings, and welcome back to the MCOC Encyclopedia. Today is day 4 of covering every champion in the game, and today we are looking over the Mystic class. As a reminder, I'll be looking at a different class every day this week, so that we will cover the entire tier list ready for December's champions. So let's dive in. As with the other days, we will be looking at the list column by column, starting at 10-10, then going to 10-1, 9-10, 9-1, and so on. Rather disappointingly then, we have to start in 10-1 with Doctor Strange. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. 4-star Doctor Strange used to rule the contest. These days he doesn't really do anything. A bad champion, unfortunately. Moving on to some nicer champions then, in 9-7 we have Sorcerer Supreme, an extremely versatile champion that can hit very hard when she gets her armor breaks going. Very good fight control, and the regen on block is a very nice piece of utility. At 9-6 we have Dragon Man. Some great damage, particularly those red bursts when you can have them in the corner. The power gain is very nice, double immunity is very helpful, but what helps him even more is his cheese potential on special 3s. He will take very little damage, or at least regenerate up a large amount of damage, and be fully unblockable and unstoppable, allowing you to get away with a hell of a lot. In 9-4, we have Dormammu and Kindred. Dormammu has surprisingly excellent power control. It's really one of the best ones in the game, and if you play him slowly, you can make sure they will never see a single bar of power. Unfortunately, you will be in that fight for half an hour. He doesn't hit very hard, even with his bursts, so with just a little tune-up, I could see Dormammu actually being a Mystic King. Kindred is a defender through and through. His degen damage is okay once you get there, and whilst getting there isn't the most annoying, you just need to hit them, you then lose it all again once your field goes away. So a bit clunky and the damage isn't great. 9-4. In 9-3 we have Mangog. His damage is better than most people give him credit for, but he's got a rather odd rotation to get it that involves walking around and getting punched in the face. Possible promotion to 9-4 though. Both Iron Fists land themselves in 9-2. Outdated, bad, can't do much with them, and joining them in 9-2 is Unstoppable Colossus. Do not buy this guy from the store unless you literally have 100 million loyalty and nothing better to do. This leads me then to 8-10 and what I believe to be the best Mystic champion in the game, Dr. Doom. Amazing fight control, top tier damage, and once you have the quote-unquote Doom cycle going, unless your opponent decides to throw a special attack out of nowhere, there isn't a huge amount they can do. His lack of immunities to common damage over time effects, apart from shock, holds him back a little bit from the 9 slot, but 8-10 is still a very solid champion. In 8-8, we have Jugs, Magic, Rintrah, and Tigra. If anyone isn't convinced by Juggernaut, go watch Darth Ghost's channel. He has a 7-star rank 3 Juggernaut and lots of videos just tearing apart pretty much everything with him. Hits incredibly hard. Having constant unstoppable is surprising utility, and the buff control is semi-reliable but enough to get by. Magic is stuck in the bottom left corner because she is only a 5-star. She has so much potential control that seeing her as a 6-star we might do, but it certainly won't be for a while. For her rank, the damage is okay as well. Rintrah is extremely tanky, has amazing damage on his special 2, great neutralize, and if you choose to go down it, you can actually use him as a DOT champion with rupture damage. I've taken safeguard fights with him, where your special 2 will basically do no damage at all, and just use the ruptures to tick them down. A surprisingly effective but not often seen strategy. I will say that I think he needs his signature ability. I've seen many people say that he doesn't and it's more annoying, and I will agree that the power gain from it can be annoying. However, the extra tanking ability he gets is undeniable, so about Sig 120 I think is perfect for him. I'm sure a lot of people have seen what Tigra can do, with her jumping around all over the screen, and dealing a surprising amount of red damage. A very high skill ceiling and skill floor for Tigra, but once you can get there, she's very, very good. For her Sig, I would say you either want her unawakened or as high a SIG as possible. A SIG 20 Tigra is actually more annoying than anything. In H6 we have Black Widow Clairvoyant and Sasquatch. Black Widow has very good fight control, cycling immunities, some surprisingly big special 2 damage, and a lot of utility from her special 2. Very good. Sasquatch is an absolute tank with the highest health pool in the game and far too much regeneration for his own good. He has really quite good damage as well on his special 2s with his ruptures. With or without the crit, he can hit very, very hard and is an often underrated attacker. At 8-5 we have Ebony Maw and Scarlet Witch. Ebony Maw, after his 12th buff, is now a decent champion with those degens that can really tick away if you can line things up. It's slightly annoying to get that special 2 lineup, but when you do, the damage is pretty good. Scarlet Witch needs that signature ability, but is still the RNG queen. She can be very good and launch some disgusting numbers, or she can sort of do a domino and do absolutely nothing. At 8-4 we have Purgatory and Thor Jane Foster. Purgatory is a weird champion that is sort of a ramp-up champion in a quest, but also sort of not as she loses it over time. Imagine if Aegon lost his combo meter after a few fights. It just wouldn't be the same. The damage is fine once you get it going, and even without the ramp-up, the degen from the special 2 can be okay, but still not the best. Thor Jane Foster has some good crit damage and some shocks, but that's about it. Her signature ability is very nice to have though, when you need those crits. At 8-3, we have Loki. His damage is pretty bad, without synergies, and his buff steal from the special 1 is inconsistent. He doesn't actually steal every buff, and sometimes he won't take the same buff off 2 different champions. It's a weird one. At 7-8, we have America Chavez and Diablo, as well as the newly placed Kushala. America Chavez has some amazing damage and some really good control in power gain fights using her 3rd dimension. She's also a dual threat for defense, though that isn't considered here. Diablo has some amazing poison damage and synergizes very nicely with the recall masteries. If you need a fight where you can poison them, Diablo is usually a pretty good option, and you can keep those poisons going for a long time, particularly if the opponent has lots of buffs on them. The newly introduced Kushala has great damage in lots of different forms, and that's very useful utility. She's got Incinerate, Soul Barb, and Degen off her specials 1, 2, and 3, respectively. Potential promotion to 8-8, or even 9-8, depending on what I see people do with her. I'm very interested to see what she'll do. At 7-7, we have the Hood. He takes a lot of fights that he probably shouldn't be able to, but that burst damage from his heavy attack with all the charges is very, very effective. Combine that with the invisibility from his special 2, and you have a very solid champion. At 7-6, we have Werewolf by Night. Newly placed, and has some surprisingly good rupture damage and burst from his special 2. He's a little bit light on the utility for my liking, so I am keeping my eye on him. He may be demoted to either 6-6 or 7-5, but we'll keep an eye on him for now where he is. In 7-5, we have Dr. Voodoo and Guillotine. Voodoo is a little bit outdated, but the poisons will still tick very nicely from his special 1, and the control from his special 2 and special 3 is still just as effective as it was a while ago. Guillotine has some okay damage output the bleeds can stack up, but her regen reversal is very potent, and this can be very effective in situations where your opponent is running willpower. In 7-3, we have Ghost Rider. Unfortunately not the cosmic one, this one is a bit outdated. He's fine, but the damage just isn't up to modern standards. In 6-5, we have Spider-Man Supreme. His damage is pretty good, and so is his control, but he is a very squishy champion. He can do some good things, but you'll need a bit of skill to play him. In 6-4, we have Man-Thing. His damage is not great. The poisons tick okay. He doesn't have much other base damage, but his immunities are good, and his ability to play fights slightly differently when you have Mystic Dispersion is also very nice. In 6-3, we have Mephisto. His aura damage isn't quite high enough for him to be used on offense effectively, nor is his main attack damage. What he does have, though, is a very interesting combo of immunities, as Poison and Incinerate immunity are quite a rare combination. Over in 4-8 we have Absorbing Man, Longshot, and Scarlet Witch Sigil. Absorbing Man has some great damage and some great immunities, and the ability to swap backwards and forwards is very nice depending on the fight and how it's going. His regen can't be understated as well, particularly at low health, a great modern mystic. Longshot sees buffs, and then one special 2 later, you just see a whole lot of incinerates. Very good damage, and his ability to steal the opponent's power as they gain it is very nice once he stacks up some bad karma. Scarlet Witch Sigil has some very, very good damage, particularly when you can steal buffs off the opponent or just put them there yourself. Just watch for them going unblockable at an inopportune moment. Mojo and Wong are in 4-7. Mojo is a surprisingly powerful attacker, something I don't see used much. Any buffs on the opponent, as long as they don't last indefinitely, can be turned into degens. A possible promotion to 5-7. Wong has amazing damage once ramped and is very, very sustainable. A potential promotion for him as well, as he's really coming to light in the Necropolis recently. In 3-8, we've got Wiccan. Much like Longshot, buffs mean incinerates, but Wiccan can prevent the buffs from ever even appearing. You do need to get your neutralize up first, but he has very good damage. The incinerates aren't as potent as Longshots, but converting them into plasma with a special 2 is very nice, and he can keep them going pretty much indefinitely. In 3-7, we've got Morningstar and Symbiote Supreme. Morningstar, once ramped, is a surprisingly good champion, very good as an early incursions option. She can regenerate, she can tear buffs off the opponent with a special 2, the special 1 has some excellent red damage, overall a very solid champion, once ramped. Symbiote Supreme has great damage, particularly once you get that special 3 going, lots of bleeds, lots of armor breaks, has made a slight return with the Maestro Defender coming in. We'll see where he goes for now. And finally, at 3-6, we have Mordo. His Soul Barb has some great damage, as does the degen from his special 1, though the Soul Barb does require buffs on the opponent, and he has no way of putting them there himself. The damage can be good in the right situation. So, there you have it. My opinion on every Mystic Champion in the game. If you disagree with me, feel free to shout at me in the comments, or you can join my Discord server, where you can shout at me more directly. Tomorrow we have Science Champions, and then to wrap up this series we have Skill. Thank you, and I will see you next time.